Welcome everywhere. The game that, by the looks of it, might also have massive delays in it because already loading into it is somewhat of a long process here. But then again, they have already drafted. So this is a remake of the lobby for, well, a reason unknown. This is also going to be game number 2 of Invasion versus the Prime, where the Prime maybe as an underdog winning game number 1 even. So kind of excited to see game number 2 here and of course to find out what even was drafted. But we are HeflaTV, your English coverage for the event. I'm Couchor. I'm going to once again be joined by Mr. Blakadder. And already I see some heroes that I have yearned to see for such a long time.
Oh, indeed. We have ourselves a Darkseer Earthshaker combination with the Medusa. Oh, the carnage we can have. On the flip side of that, Phoenix, Chen, Storm Invoker, and Lion. Oh, we have some quite high alpha damage. This should be very enjoyable.
Yeah, we can only hope so, as long as the enjoyable also involves no pauses. Of
Oh,
course,
damn straight. No pauses. We don't like pauses here.
yeah, it's hard to find anybody who likes pauses. Although sometimes short pauses are fine because it actually lets you analyze the situation. Because I mean, I wouldn't say there's ever like too much action, but every now and then pauses have its functions.
Every now and then, yes, but not to pause every 10 seconds like in the last game we covered.
Yeah, it just completely killed the momentum of the game for both sides, really.
Indeed it did, but now
It's
loading
like
into...
I'm about to primal roar and initiate pause. Oh crap.
But now loading into this game, let's start straight away with the formalities, shall we? For the Prime, we have Y2K handling the Phoenix, SCL on the Invoker, Monang on that Storm Spirit. We have, of course, Boo Boo handling the Chen, and finally we do have Nefari on that Lion.
As for Invasion, ADTR leading the charge on the Brewmaster. Never mind, he's letting Ghost lead the charge on Darkseer instead. With 3K MMR or Bust playing the Medusa. Extinct, of course, handling the Earthshaker, and FC will be the last one on the Witch Doctor. Not too sure if 3K MMR or Bust is Keiichi Kimba or not. He shouldn't be because he had the correct name earlier on when he played today. So they had Ghost come back in, although I Ghost think initially left the team. Keiichi Kimba, of course, is going to start a new team with Mushi, Ohio, and KYXY, I believe. The Malaysian E-Home. So they're just having old members stand in for them at the moment.
Well, it certainly looks to be a very interesting high-impact game with these players, though, at least. I'm going to shorten 3K MMR to 3K just for my own sanity, but let me see. Looking at these heroes and lanes, I'm going to commit and put my money on Invasion.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to take a good look at the draft. I can't bet against the Darkseer. I absolutely love that hero. Of course, I have no idea how game 1 went down, so it makes it a little bit harder to predict, to be honest. Because the Prime, they were the underdogs coming into this, as it is, I think. So winning game number 1 already is maybe kind of an indication, who knows, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Invasion this game as well.
Fair enough. I've updated the betting sheet so we can keep track.
It's just the Prime, they need to execute their asses off earlier on in this game. But I think they have a solid enough chance to win, but even with that in mind, still I think Invasion is going to take this game.
I actually find these lanes for Invasion quite interesting, considering I would have expected the Brewmaster to go mid. Instead, it's a Medusa mid up against an Invoker, which isn't what I expected in the least. I expected the Medusa to actually be bot lane, to be able to farm up there. So they're instead going to brawl against the Invoker with a Medusa, and I suppose you can do this with a Mystic Snake fairly well.
You can with reasonable success, I suppose so. In Brewmaster doesn't really struggle all that much either, but it is a little bit better. Although, on the same note, oh, there's the Fisher, but no kind of follow-up. I mean, Medusa can't do anything but right-click and send out the Mystic Snake, so... Also for roaming purposes, it would have been a little bit better possibly to have the Brewmaster there, because Thunderclap can actually help you set things up, for example. And I know Invoker had it, not Invoker, but Medusa had it been safe lane, would have also had a slightly easier time against Phoenix, I think.
I'd be inclined to agree to that, but if we take a look at how Phoenix is doing right now, fairly low on health, only has a single salve left, so she has been punished, and that's what you really need to do with the Phoenix. You can't let her just do as she pleases, otherwise you'll get punished quite heavily by the Fire Spirits. So as long as they're not letting the Phoenix get free cast of Fire Spirits without punishing the health cost in some manner, then it should all be good for evasion going into this one. But nonetheless, we do have another lane to discuss. Let's take a look at this top lane. Monang versus Ghost.
Ghost started off with, well, the way Darkseer should. He just applied an Ion Shell to himself, ran Monang down, but Monang, after a little while, after you get a little bit more levels, it's gonna of course become better for you. Lion maybe gonna be a little bit more of a nuisance to the Darkseer as well. At the moment, hasn't even gone for Hex at all. Of course the thing is, if the Darkseer gets the Surge on himself, even the Hex will not slow him down. So just went for the mana drain, and as he hits level 3 fast enough after that level 2 point, it doesn't matter that much in the end. So he's just gonna go to possibly stack, maybe smoke up, never mind, no smoke for them yet, unless this Walking Courier is bringing one out, and indeed it is. So possibly a Chen Lion smoke incoming.
Well, that can certainly look to do some work, but while we wait for that smoke, I'm going to ask you, what do you think about this Darkseer Storm Spirit lane? Because to me, having a short-range hero like Storm up against Darkseer, this seems very advantageous towards Ghost. I
I wouldn't say that it's advantageous, but it's definitely better than most like melee ranged lineups or matchups would be otherwise. I mean, Storm Spirit, what does it? 480 range should be plenty to be honest with the overload, being able to harass there as well. Of course, before level 6 you have to be a little bit afraid of just the Ion Shell on the creeps as well as the Ion Shell on possibly Ghost himself. But even then, you should be able to outrun him as long as you don't go too far away from your tower. And
well,
with the Ion Shells, of course, pushing out the lane, Storm Spirit is never going to be too far from his tower, I think.
We did see a little bit of an attempt on the mid lane coming out of the rotation from the Smoked Lion, but immediately you had Extinct there just to drop that Fissure and just block everything out. There's going to be no risk of that, and 3K will survive for now. But now this is sort of where I wonder. Considering for Invasion, they have these 3 lanes that really want to be farming. Darkseer, he wants to get level 10. You've got Medusa, one of the best late game carries in the game. He wants to just sit and continue to farm up. And then you've got on this bottom lane a Brewmaster who is going to spend at least a good few more minutes before you can start rotating around with a Primal Split. What do you really want to accomplish in the early game?
I guess at the moment it's going reasonably fine for them because all of their cores are getting some nice farm. Even the Darkseer, 21 last hits. Yes, Storm Spirit has a little bit more, but that's an offlaner. If you check out the dire side offlane, Phoenix, 6 last hits only. Can't really go into the jungle all that well, and in fact, he's come into the mid lane now. Top lane though, Ghost wants to come into Monang. If they get the disable, and well, with the Fissure being there, that is the disable they were looking for. Surge up, and Monang, he's gonna lose his life, I believe, or never mind, needed one more punch. Turns around with the overload. I don't think he can get close enough. Healing Cell will get cancelled immediately. Was it a range creep? Monang almost dies to creeps himself, but Chen comes in, one more attack! Yes, gets it down. First blood there. Level 6 of Monang uses all of his mana, man. He's living on the edge, but gonna be sent back home.
It was a little bit of an overstep coming out of the Darkseer there. If he had have continued going, he would have been killed by the tower. So he got caught with the catch-22. The Fissure really needed to block the Storm Spirit completely, and it didn't happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, for a second I thought it might even block. Sometimes it's like you would think that there is a way between the Fissure and the trees, and there isn't, and sometimes the just reverse applies as well. But Monang barely makes it out there, even just made it so that he's gonna stand like still for half a second when he applied that static remnant on the ground. But even though that gave a little bit of extra time for his Darkseer to come close, it also did quite a bit of damage because static remnant is one of the just higher damaging spells on level 1, 140, especially for the mana cost of it. So Storm Spirit was like, if Darkseer is gonna come and get the kill on me, I better as hell at least make it so that he's gonna die in return. And in the end, he ended up surviving, and they get the counter kill. Of course, a huge part was there. I think it still was the range creep that cancelled the healing cell on Darkseer, right?
Yes, it was. It was the range creep that had one more attack in the air, unfortunately.
And that's had the healing cell been there. Of course, he was kind of blocked in, or not blocked, but cornered by the Chen and his army anyway. But he would have at least survived a little bit longer. Maybe bait out the Storm Spirit somehow, but looking at the Medusa though, mid lane for example, only 14 last hits, and Although Medusas, they don't rely that much on early farm, it definitely does just get you a long way when you do get the early farm, like early Lincolns for example to survive, depending what lineup you're up against. But this game, I think Lincolns would be pretty nice.
Lincolns, I think, would work, yes. It'd block Finger of Death, it'd block some of the Chen nukes. I like the idea of a Lincolns in this game.
Oh, look at Chen though. He's behind the tower at the moment, summoned his creeps to him. Double Satyr, lots of Shockwave, which they do a lot of damage, 125 per pop, not that long of a cooldown, you can spam it out with their mana pool, and a Dark Troll there as well. It all comes down to micro, but a Satyr gets spotted out, and of course, I don't think the Prime are aware that FC and X are also around.
Well, they need to be very careful of those supports there, and it's one of the biggest worries in my mind for the Prime. If they get caught out by these supports of invasion, they will get punished very heavily. And the other thing I'm keeping my eye on here is ADTR. He's got 1,800 gold in the bank. Is this... Surely it's not a... Yes, it is. It's a Rush Blink Dagger. The Rush Blink Dagger is going to have quite an impact, considering you've got the Invoker who can't really escape all that well. He's gone for phase. He does have the ability to go
Cross Wex, so Blink Detection.
Yeah, with Dust, you're fine. You've got a Storm who has to ball Lightning out. Speaking of Storm, he's taking a lot of damage from that double Ion Shell up on that top lane. Oh, that hurts. But he should survive quite handily there, yes. Everyone else has some form of an escape. When you look at the Phoenix, he's got the Icarus dive. Chen shouldn't be caught full stop, and Lion should be far enough back so he can just hex and stun. So you have to at least respect the Blink Dagger range of that Brewmaster. If you get caught by Brew, you're going to give him so much gold.
Brewmaster with that early blink is definitely scary. I mean, Thunderclap does a pretty nice amount of damage. You're gonna, most of the times when you go for the blink initiation, gonna have that guaranteed crit as well from the Drunken Brawler. At the moment though, Fire Spirits come out bottom lane, Paralyzing Cask just went to the creep, so Phoenix doesn't even need to use the Icarus type to make it out there. Of course, we got the blink purchase, but for a second I thought like, is he really gonna blink aggressively straight as he gets that item, but little bit lacking on the mana part of things. But
even if he does though, he won't be able to kill a Supernova Egg on his own, so it should be fine. Unless...
On that note, if the Phoenix gets like perfect Fire Spirits, he can even quite possibly just go in with like a man mode Supernova.
Maybe, but I have my doubts.
Probably not on the Brewmaster, but maybe on the Witch Doctor.
On the Witch Doctor, yes, certainly, but not onto the Brew. I don't think Brewmaster Primal Split Brewlings hurt a Phoenix Egg, correct me if I'm wrong?
It should not. The last time I saw that matchup, I don't think the Brewlings ever once even tried to attack the Supernova, so I took it as it does not work. Because otherwise probably the pro players would have used it.
He needs
it feels too overpowered if it did work.
I suppose, but many things are odd interactions with
it's like 2 attacks from each Brewling and Supernova is down. It would be too direct of a counter, I think, somehow.
Quite possibly, but as it stands, Monang does have himself a regeneration rune bottle, so best room for the Storm. Are we going to look for some kills with it sooner, or is he going to continue farming, do you think?
Well, at the moment, he's definitely just hanging about on the safe lane. Maybe they're going to have Chen rotate in from the back lines once again, and this time around, if they can't go for the kills or if it doesn't work out, just go for the tower instead. They should really start doing a little bit more, forcing the hand invasion, because at the moment Ghost, he had a pretty nice offlane. Yes, he died once, but 64 in the last hits nonetheless. Has the Hand of Midas, 600 gold on top of that, plus the Soul Ring, of course. So, if I was them, I'd probably try to go for a little bit more as Phoenix. Did end up dying to the Witch Doctor bottom lane. SCL even rotated in, but I guess they wanted to use the Supernova, wanted to go for the kills themselves, but Invoker's just a little bit too late to the party.
Well, I suppose that's the thing. The Invoker's going to need to be very, very present with his map awareness and map presence, full stop. If he wants to go Quas Wex, he needs to be in these fights. He needs to be getting those Tornado EMPs.
What do you even think of like Quas Wex in this game? Probably up against Medusa, Wex is all well and good, but I guess Orchid against Brewmaster as well, which is the kind of common Wex build is nice. Or would you still have preferred Exort over Wex?
I think Wex in this case is the right choice, considering if you catch an Earthshaker within it, he's going to have no mana to do anything. It's going to burn the mana shield of the Medusa. Mana warfare against Medusa is always good. They've got the Lion as well to drain the mana, and now they're going to look for the initiation onto the Prime. He's going to go down. SCL cannot stand. He gets the EMP, but it does not matter either way. Now the Primal split. They're going to look for the Lion, going to try to catch him in the tree line, but unfortunately he lands and breaks the single tree that was blocking him in, so Nefari should be safe. Then again, in comes a long-range Mystic Snake, not going to be enough to harm him too much, but this should be a tier 1 in that mid lane if they really want to hang around.
It's still Invasion being the more active part of this, and it's really weird to see considering there is a Chen on the board, although as I say that, 3 Satyrs plus a Troll walk out of the jungle together with the Chen. Oh man, Satyrs are... Oh, never mind, one gets eaten by Midas. Sneaky Darkseer. Just one got straight away from the pack and immediately punished for it. They still should be able to claim this tier 1 though, I think.
Yeah, that's the strength of this kind of style. What they're doing is just controlling the towers. They're going to try to get what early towers they can. You've got Ghost trying to come forward with the Iron Shell to kill off what he can. And this tower should actually be denied here, which is going to be quite harmful towards Ghost. But then again, in comes Monang with a long-range jump. Does get the deny on the tower, but that almost cost Storm his life. I mean, over-jumping there. That was quite risky.
Yeah, I didn't really understand why Chen even sent back the Storm Spirit before they got the tower down, or at least before they had the kill of the tower secured. And not only that, also on the bottom lane, the tier 1 tower got denied just before the top side. So 2 tower denies for Invasion. The Prime, they don't get the kill. Storm Spirit losing a little bit of the farming time, and he's so low on mana now. He just got sent back home, had to TP back to the same tier 1, to the same lane he was on. I felt that the first send back was extremely weird, and I thought like Storm Spirit probably gonna TP to another lane once to set up kills, but I don't know. Of course, maybe without the Earthshaker being there with the Fisher, they could have quite possibly killed Ghost, but by now he has so much farm. He is number 2. Of course, Storm Spirit still has more, but that's an off-lane Darkseer, and he's gonna have a mech soon.
Yeah, when he gets that mech as well, that's going to cause so many problems, considering you look at the damage for the Prime. Where is their main damage source? It's the Storm Spirit, and the mech can heal through that. The Finger of Death is going to be there to try to burst someone down. Again, mech could cause some problems in that, but I worry that the Prime don't have any form of late game. Invoker can do some nice things, yes, but he's not gone for the damage route of Exhort. The Storm can carry a game, yes, but he needs a really good early game with a good number of kills. He's currently just got 100 CS and 9 denies, which is pretty good, yes, but he's not getting as much gold as he could if he went for kills. Then again, he will have his Bloodstone very soon.
It's really weird what they're doing at the moment, or rather what they're not doing, I suppose. Because they're being way passive. Of course, they're going to get the mech on Chen as well, but it's going to be there at the same time as the Darkseers is, and Darkseer has just so much more to offer to the team on top of that. Surge to just help your people escape. Of course, there's a reasonable amount of disables anyway in the Prime, but Darkseer, level 11, level 2 wall, almost max out vacuum, 3 points into it. It's just a scary thing to go up against, and Chen creeps this game as well. Not too sure how much they're even going to be able to accomplish as time goes on.
Well, I think with this level 2 wall online, we're going to start looking for those big team fights. We're looking for that vacuum wall combination, maybe with an Echo Slam, maybe with a Thunderclap. We have options, especially considering Blakadder is available for ADTR. A good rotation, a good fight is all it will take for Invasion to start getting that momentum going. And they've still got their Medusa, who is farming very nicely. Doesn't have as much CS as Storm, sure. Still 65 and 17 and 1 kill. I still find it very curious, though, that he's skilling split shot and not going for stats, since the common build is stats these days on the Medusa.
Well, since nobody's really punishing him or trying to get kills on him, might as well just farm a little bit faster, I suppose. Because really, the Prime, they aren't doing anything at all to try to slow down that Medusa. It feels a little bit like the Arcanist versus Signature game that we had, that they really weren't addressing Lakels at all, almost. Just letting the Spectre farm, and Medusa is at least just as scary. And now they might lose Monang here. Let's get the Ball Lightning out, but he's gonna have to Ball Lightning a couple of zips of the Maledict. Although Hand of God comes out, so that's gonna help. So he's gonna be fine, gonna be sent back home. At least they have an easy way to replenish Storm Spirit's mana pool by sending him home like that, but Storm Spirit, safe lane farm, going for a Bloodstone, maybe the Bloodstone, which he does finish right as he already started the TP, ticked on enough gold during the TP, but does have the Bloodstone, but he goes back to the top lane. So you're going Bloodstone, yet you're still just farming.
I don't know. I've never seen this kind of. I've not seen it for a long time. This kind of farming Storm Spirit instead of looking for kills. He's 0, 0, and 1. He's, I suppose, gone for the high points into Overload as well as the Static Remnant. So he's got a good amount of damage behind him. He doesn't have the stun duration, considering he's only got 1 point in Electric Vortex. It's odd, and I'm not too sure I like it.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about it either. I'm inclined to say I don't like it. At least for now, it's just not bearing results for me. At least he's out farming the rest. So if he was just farming yet still wouldn't be number one, it would be even worse. Maybe they are waiting for the Invoker to get this Orchid, but it's so much easier to get an Orchid if you're getting kills because you get increased gold income. It's not like his last hit amount is massive. He's even afraid of just a gank coming his way, so he's not even farming properly in the mid lane at the same time. It's really weird how the Prime... Maybe they feel a little bit forced into the position that they are in. Maybe they feel pressured too much by some force that I cannot see.
Well, I guess they might be worried about the Medusa in some ways, because the Stone Gaze can cause so many problems, but to me, the later this game goes, the better it is for Invasion. Darkseer can do quite a bit in the late game. We've got a Medusa. Do I really need to say any more than that? It's unusual. I'm not sure what the Prime's game plan is, and I can't see an obvious route unless they really just want to split push and try to get towers down, but 3k is going to keep rotating. Then you've got the potential rotations of the Smoke Gank of Extinct and FZFZ here. How far are we off of Blakadder for X as well? He's still good distance away. He's about 2k away. Long Range Fisher comes out there. They're going to try to bring down SCL. Primal Split comes forward. There's the Ghost Walk. Do they have enough detection up here? They don't have another sentry. That's going to be a big problem. That's going to waste the Primal Split. That's 2 minutes before it's going to be up again. So they're going to turn their attention instead to this tier 1 tower. Where is the reactions? They're going to send back SCL. So they're actually just going to sack the tower by the looks of things. They cannot stay and they cannot defend. So they'll lose.
If they can't fight when the Primal Split is on cooldown, when can they fight?
I don't know. I really don't. But now we've got Dust up for the Witch Doctor as well, so that's not going to happen again. Where a Witch Doctor can, where a Invoker can escape you by running out of range of a ward. But certainly, Phoenix now completes a Midas. I don't like Midas gaming all that much. It has to be said. It encourages a kind of playstyle where it's like, oh, I'm going to farm, and I'm just going to farm. Sure, it's nice level acceleration, but I don't think the Phoenix needs it in this case. And they already do have, of course, that mechanism onto the Chen, so this frees up the Phoenix to go for other items, like maybe an Orchid, maybe an Atos, maybe a Shivers. All of those items, I think, would be much more valuable than a Midas.
It's hard to say. I think Phoenix Midas is like okay-ish because he doesn't farm particularly fast, or he's not the hero who likes to just stand around and farm. I think it's really so because Hand of Midas, it's also looking towards the late game. But if we're looking at late game on an invasion, it's like, do we really want to go into a farm war when there's a Medusa on the enemy side? That's like a question that they really must have asked themselves, and they were like, screw it, we can take Medusa on, we have the lineup for it. I mean, maybe if they get like an EMP Finger of Death, that
Storm
is a hell of a
in.
lot of burst.
They're going to bring down X at least, but he gets the Echo Slam off prior to his death. It's not going to do all that much. Now in comes Ghost, looks for the vacuum, doesn't manage to get it before Storm manages to zip away, and Nefari's going to TP out as well, but at least that's a kill going the way of the Storm.
So they finally get something up to 10 Blast Zone charges, so definitely nice for the Prime here. As Monang, if he can just keep on getting those Blast Zone charges, he's getting some pretty nice farm as well. Orchid, not all that far off. First WMN staff finished, closing in on the secondary one, and not only that, level-wise, almost 15 is the highest level so far in the game. So even getting better XP than the Midas heroes. So if they just keep going at this pace, at that they just set for themselves, especially now that the Orchid is also finished on SCL's Invoker, they might suddenly be able to like outpower now the Lion Blink as well. Okay, this in some sense might completely catch Invasion by surprise because it's been an extremely passive game, like massively passive. We have 5 kills 21 minutes in from the previous game where we had 38 kills 20 minutes in. This change of pace might come as like a massive shock to Invasion.
Maybe, but now we're going to have the rotation around. Boo Boo in a lot of trouble. He's going to melt here as the Chen. So there's nothing he can do there. His army should be cleaned up as well with the Midas and, well, just with the right clicks. But
And Paralyzing Cask so good against the Chen army.
you say it might surprise Invasion. I don't think it will, considering 3K now has his Manta. If they want to try to go on the Manta with that Orchid, he's just going to Manta it
Oh,
up.
bottom lane, Brewmaster gets Orchided up. Didn't know that one was coming. EMPs there as well. Supernova used. They do get the kill. No Primal Split, just not enough mana for it. Well, at least this Orchid Invoker did come out as a surprise. He was just sitting in the Ghost Walk waiting for somebody to come in onto the Phoenix. So they land one kill and... Oh, never mind. FC just drops loads to the Fire Spirits and Urn of Shadows. Top lane though, Monang gets the jump onto Medusa, but Mana Shield is too much for Monang to handle. But it's hard to say if the Brewmaster kill was better than that of the Chen, just because the army was also destroyed for Chen.
I suppose, yeah. Without the Chen army, it's going to set the Chen back a good amount of time, but I'm trying to figure out if this is going to work in the long run for Prime. They're going for the surgical style of Dota. They're attacking, getting a pick off, maybe overusing a few ultimates just to ensure kills, but they're only going for what they know they can get. They are not playing risky at all. They are playing the most cautious Dota you can possibly imagine. We're not seeing miles out of the box aggression. We've seen Storm only jump in when he knows that other heroes are not around. And it so far is paying off, considering Orchid's now done for Monang. He's got 10 Bloodstone charges.
So
It's a slow increment, a very slow increment. That's sort of reflected on our graph here. 23 minutes is only a 5k lead in both experience and gold. But
it's a pretty substantial lead still, I think. It just... the farm is better spread on the Prime a little bit, or... I would have to say Chen is... Still, him farming up in the jungle, although it's maybe not the preferred playstyle of Chen's, he is getting close to the Aghanim Scepter. 30-second cooldown on the heal is gonna be pretty nice, but getting one of the ancients, that Rock Golem, or whatever it's called, Granite Golem I think. If you get that one, it's gonna increase all of your health pools by, what's it, 10? 15%?
15%.
15, yeah.
It'll be quite nice, yes, but I still wonder if they're going to be able to continue this kind of surgical style, consider 20 minutes down the road here, if it goes that late, or 10 minutes down the road. Blink Dagger on Earthshaker. We'll have on the Darkseer possibly a Shivas, which I think would be very powerful considering the combination with the wall. We'll have Medusa, who will have a Skadi. He actually didn't go for the full Manta. He picked up a second Ultimate Orb. He's almost got a Skadi. And that's going to just help lock down these fast escapable heroes of the Prime.
Storm Spirit, long jump, gets the silence, EMP under him as well. Although he's still gonna be safe, gets hit by the EMP, but Storm Spirit had to spend way too much mana for that jump. Still though, Medusa, double ultimate orb, Skadi, although a Manta style was just... I mean, it would have been finished for him quite some time ago. He's up against double Orchid. Wouldn't Manta style have been worth it?
I think Manta would have been my preferred choice, just being able to get out of these Orchids, but if he thinks he can be safe enough with a Skadi just to tank up and have the mana pool, then who am I to say no to him, considering? But I have to consider the grand scheme of things, the 5v5, not just the 2v1. Have we seen any Death Wards yet? Because I don't think we have.
I don't... Maybe we've seen one, but it was just jumped out of by the Storm Spirit almost immediately. Although I'm more prone to say that we haven't. And now Roshan has been claimed. Took them quite some time to be honest to bring it down, but Monang now, full mana pool, 1600. Well, maybe not quite full now with the Static Remnant and a little bit of Ball Lightning, but this is like the perfect opportunity to start gaining charges for the Bloodstone.
And SCL's scouting things out now as well. Pings go out, they know he's here, but can they do anything about this? Tornado comes out, Ghost Walk, looking for the catch. They catch SCL. He does get stunned out by a long-range Enchant Totem. Dust comes out as well, but they can't punish it. They can't get on top of that Invoker. I suppose that's the nice
It's just
thing.
Brewmaster, a little bit of an unfortunate blink. Had it been like one step forward, Thunderclap connecting as well, maybe, just maybe they would have been able to catch up there. Although Boo will we see ADTR. Earthspike was just used though. There's the ensnare onto ADTR as well, but they do not want to go for the Brewmaster. And the Fisher actually saves Boo Vacuum. He split second too late. Hand of God to keep the creeps alive and brings them to him. So all is fine. Of course, Hand of God is a long cooldown still. He needs that Blade of Alacrity to finish the Hand of God or the Aghanim Scepter for the 30-second cooldown.
It's... I don't know. This kind of strategic Dota just doesn't sit right with me for some reason. We've been seeing high impact fight games for days.
Thinking is for the weak, fighting is for the manly men.
There's strategic fighting, and then there's this kind of surgical Dota, and this surgical Dota seems to be paying off in the long run. But we look at SCL. He's going to full start down from the high ground. They're going to try to bring down Ghost. This is going to be a pretty damn big kill. And again, they know that he's isolated alone. They'll take that one. It's paying off. But can they do this all game? I don't think they can, considering there's the Fisher on 2. Death Ward comes down as well with a Skadi. It's going to force the Supernova, going to make everyone disengage. So good use of the Supernova there to survive, but I still wonder what's happening because we've got SCL lurking on that high ground again. He just wants to force in and try to get another kill.
It was such a bastard Supernova. The Supernova exploding killed the creep that Lion wanted to mana drain, or well, he was already mana draining him, but just scumbag Supernova there. But like I said, the kill on the Dark Side is huge. Not only that, Phoenix all of a sudden finishes up a Shiva's card, sitting on 24 armor, so physical damage not that big of a deal for him anymore. Although magical damage, yes, it can still be bursted down, and as you saw from the last fight, he dropped down pretty fast. Got up to his own high ground purely to the thanks of the mech of the Gen.
He did, and the Death Ward did do a good amount there as well, but now with the Shivas on Y2K, it's going to make it so hard to run away from that Supernova.
So, if you're Phoenix now, you have the Shiva stun, you have the Hand of Midas ticking. What's the next, like, big ticket item you would aim at?
Sheepstick. Definitely a Sheepstick, or maybe an Aghanims, depending. I mean, an Aghanims can save the target. Now they're going to try to bring down Monang, but he's getting the solar beam, trying to keep him alive. Combined with all those zips and zaps, he's going to try to bring down Ghost. One more right click might do it. Down goes the Darkseer. There's going to be no wall again, but now everyone turned to Stone. Stone Gaze just did so much work there. Echo Slam comes out. Of course, all that magic resistance from being in that Stone Gaze doesn't really help Extinct. And now zipping and zapping. Monang will finish off the Earthshaker. Can they finish off Monang, though? I don't think they can. A couple more right clicks might do it, but look how much healing the Dire Side have. Between Boo Boo with Hand of God, with Mechanism, and the Solar Beam, everyone is still alive. This is just ridiculous. Everyone on Invasion has fallen into full 5-man wipe in favour of the Prime, and the Storm survives. Do not ask me how, but the Storm survives. He's got 15 charge now. He still has the bloody Aegis. What do you have to commit to bring him down?
It's as much as well the Storm Spirit played here. Great zipping around, doing a lot of damage, but also really well done by his teammates to keep him alive. Lion getting those disables on the correct targets. Of course, Hand of God as well, and that Hand of God was used a second before the Aghanims was delivered out to the Chen. So he was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep the Storm Spirit alive no matter what. Like you also pointed out, just those Sun Rays. All lighting forward, they're gonna get the FC, just one finger of death to secure the kill. Now goes silenced up, uses the mech, but under the EMP, Electric Vortex, 17 Bloodstone charges. One hero gets sent back as well. They're most likely going to get racks, maybe not the entire racks, but well, they even have an Ancient Granite Golem now with them, providing that extra health. Storm Spirit sitting on 2.1k health now.
This is, okay, I suppose the strategic Dota that we've seen, the surgical kind of style in this game, it's let them get the few pickoffs that they need. It's been slow to start, but once it's got off the ground and the momentum has built, it is absolutely ridiculous what the Prime just did. It was so slow, so relaxed until that 5-man wipe. That 5-man wipe happens, goodbye tier 2, goodbye tier 3, goodbye racks. That was like watching a game of dominoes. You flick one and just everything starts to fall.
It's also the fact that I think it was around the 25-minute mark when you were like 10 minutes down the road. Extinct has his Blink Dagger on the Earthshaker. Well, we're 6 minutes down the road, he's up to 700 gold.
Yeah.
It's just the Prime really, what I was saying earlier as well, that there's just this change of pace all of a sudden once the Prime get their core items going. Might be like maybe it didn't come too much as a shock for Invasion, but it was just, as we saw, a little bit too much for them to handle. Of course, the Aegis playing a huge part in this. Invasion is like, we don't really want to focus the Storm Spirit, him having the Aegis, but we can't really have him roam around freely either. So just being in between. Also, no vacuum wall from the Darkseer because he was just in a horrible position at the start of the fight, and he was the target that the Storm Spirit jumped as well in the previous one. The Darkseer got a lot of farm, and it pains me to say, but Darkseer, he got a great start, hasn't really done anything after that though.
I still don't think we've seen a good wall. I don't think we've seen a wall full stop.
There hasn't been a wall, I think, yeah.
But now it's going to be a case of tier 3s. Once again, in comes the vacuum, but it's going to be a tornado before the wall can be dropped. Now we get a wall, but it only catches on Invoker, and they're still trying to keep the Storm alive with that Solar Beam. It's doing so much. X will be the next to fall. That's 2 easy kills, and a mega kill spree for Monet. He's just tearing people apart. One more right click, he can't quite finish the Witch Doctor, but in the back lines, the Supernova's up. It's going to try to burn everyone down. It's not even needed in the end. Medusa's fallen. Now they're going to try to bring down ADTR. SCL being kept alive by the Phoenix. That Phoenix has done so much work. 4 for 0 and a GG call in favor of the Prime.
They take Invasion down 2-0. That's impressive to say the least, to be honest. And the play, the levels of play, I was questioning it for sure, having the Chen as well, but Chen kept on farming towards his Aghanim Scepter. Nice Hand of Gods along the way as well, even though they weren't fighting that much and they weren't all that necessary. It's just, they clearly had a game plan with the lineup. I mean, they knew what their timing was, which items they needed for that one, and they executed it perfectly.
They did. That was... While it's unusual for us to see this kind of surgical Dota from SEA, because we normally see very aggressive games, this was just pitch perfect. The Prime, that was impressive.
I think really that's like the only word to describe what we just saw here, and that makes me kind of excited to see them in the just winner bracket final as well. Unfortunately, due to lots of just lag issues and delays, the first semi-final between Arcanis as well as Signature Trust was postponed. At least game number 2 of it was postponed to tomorrow. Otherwise, we would already know who the Prime is going to face in tomorrow's upper bracket final. But we know that Signature is 1 game ahead. We're going to have game number 2 of that one tomorrow at 5 CET, 13 SGT, so pretty early on for the Europeans. But man, gonna be great games if this is just anything to go by. The Prime maybe coming into this tournament somewhat of the dark horses, but it's always nice to see the underdogs just actually beating teams.
Indeed it is. And I'm going to think tomorrow, my bet won't be on, it'll be the Prime versus Sig Trust. I think that'll be what the game will be.
Yeah, it's kind of likely with them being 1 game ahead as well at the time, but I'm always for 3 game series. Maybe it's same. Arcanis hopefully is going to take at least one off Signature. But guys, having said that, this will conclude the broadcast for today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. It has been a pretty damn long one. We've been here since 5 CT. Well, I've been here since a little bit later on, but still a solid day of Dota. Nice game, Southeast Asian Dota at its finest. So once again, appreciate you guys. If you want to see us tomorrow as well, check out our Facebook and Twitter, HeflaTV for both, if you want to get updates when we're actually going live with the streams and on what channels exactly. Should be the same channel though for this tournament at least. And of course, check out the casters at Couchor for me, at Mr_Blakadder for my co-caster. Both of those are also in the title of Twitch. And having said that, guys, see you tomorrow once again at 5 CT for more of the Prime Major Tournament at 5 CT in the morning, 13 SGT for you Southeast Asian folk.